We're in Iraq in 1979. The newly appointed president has summoned his fellow party members to a meeting in a local theater hall in Baghdad. His name is Saddam Hussein. He's been president for less than a week, but already Iraq feels like his, and he wants everyone to know it. It's July. The temperature outside is climbing past 40 degrees Celsius, and the hall is stifling, blisteringly hot. As Saddam takes the stage, he moves deliberately, shuffling papers, glancing at his notes. Shortly before the president arrived, one of his men stepped forward and told the crowd a terrible thing had been uncovered, a plot against the president and against Iraq. He announced that a ring of high-ranking party officials had conspired to remove Saddam from power. Then he dropped the line that froze the room. "The guilty are in this room now." The crowd sits motionless. The president is in absolute control. Saddam calls a name. A tall, slender, middle-aged man rises and walks down the aisle. His name is Muhi Abdul Hussein. He's a member of the Revolutionary Command Council, a powerful figure. But days ago he made a mistake. He opposed Saddam in a meeting. Now he climbs the stage, stands behind the microphone, and begins to speak. "I was the one behind the plot against the new president," he says. "It was I who tried to recruit others." Meanwhile, Saddam takes a seat at a long table crowded with microphones and lights, and he lights a thick Cuban cigar. But the confession is false. Nothing of what he utters is true. The reality is uglier. Muhi has been brutally tortured, his family threatened. He was told if he didn't go up and say he organized the plot, the torturers would rape his wife and daughters in front of him. With his family's safety at stake, he has no choice but to obey. To save them, he lies, betraying himself and naming others to satisfy his tormentors. When he finishes, Saddam rises again. He is calm, unhurried. He takes a drag from his cigar and looks out across the room. "What should be done with these traitors?" he asks. "You know the answer," he says after a pause. "There is no other way but the sword." The party members in the theater start to clap, desperately. What else can they do? Trembling, they follow the command. Saddam then issues an order. "When your name is read, you shall stand, recite the party slogan, and leave the room." And so he begins to read names. One by one, the men rise, murmur the slogan, and are led out. They are not told where they are going or what waits beyond the door, but they can imagine. Most comply, reluctant but resigned. One man, however, visibly confused, cries out when his name is called. "I haven't done anything!" He stands, protesting. Saddam doesn't bother to meet his gaze, coolly repeating the instruction. "When I have read your name, you shall stand, recite the slogan, and leave the room." The man lowers his head and shuffles out, defeated. Saddam continues until he has announced 68 names. When he finishes, he smiles and thanks those still in the hall for their loyalty. Everyone rises and erupts into a frantic standing ovation. Relief surging through the survivors, some even breaking into tears. On the stage, Saddam himself allows a tear to fall. Outside the hall, the men whose names were called are piled into military trucks and taken to prison. In the days that follow, 68 trials are staged. 22 men, including 5 members of the Revolutionary Command Council, are sentenced to death. Saddam appoints a number of executioners to carry out the sentences. Men from his Ba'ath Party who have never been executioners before. They are gathered in the very building where the plot allegedly hatched. The condemned are dragged into the adjoining yard, forced to their knees and blindfolded. Each executioner receives a weapon and is assigned a victim. As they prepare to fire on their former comrades, they can hear the roar of a crowd gathering outside. Saddam has arranged for a demonstration so that everyone will see what happens to those who disobey. He wants the public spectacle. He wants the spectacle of his own men complicit, whether willing or not. Thousands of Iraqis gather with signs and flags, chanting praise for their new president and denouncing the prisoners. Then, One by one, Saddam's former friends and colleagues are shot. Some of the executioners are so unsteady that they miss and must shoot their victims several times. It is gruesome. It is calculated. Saddam watches, satisfied. An excellent opening to his presidency, he thinks. 5 months later, Saddam Hussein will launch a brutal invasion of Kuwait, a war that will drag the region into chaos. But tonight, in that blistering theater hall in Baghdad, the battle for absolute control has been decided, and the price of disloyalty has been made painfully clear.